Hello and welcome back to the tutorial channel. Sound like Jeffree Star there. Today we're going to be doing an animal drawing using lots of texture, and we're going to do it in a black pen. Any type of pen works for this, but Biro is best and Sharpie's handy, or felt tip pen's handy for colouring in any big areas. The first thing you need to do is draw your outline in pencil lightly. You can use the grid technique that we often use in class for this if you find it difficult to just freehand draw. The size of this drawing is up to you, but I would recommend about A4 size, which is just an average like file page printed paper you get. So I've started off by drawing around any of the black areas in my image. To make this easier, it's good to get a high contrast image. We've said that term before in the Andy Warhol project. A high contrast image is one that has a lot of dark blacks and lots of light white colours. That will make it a more interesting image because the contrast will make it look 3D, and it will just be more eye-catching if there is that amount of contrast. So I finished drawing around all the black outlines that I have, and I'm now going to fill in lots of the solid black colours with the felt tip pen just to do it quickly, because colouring in a biro can be time consuming. I've obviously sped this up to make it easier for you to watch. You colour in the centre of your areas with the felt tip pen, and then you want to add the texture and the detail at the ends, on the edges even of your black areas. So you'll see I'm trying to get a hair texture in here by doing little W shapes and zigzags and flicky motions with my hand. I find small W shapes tend to be good for getting a hair texture, and we're just doing solid black at this moment, so you don't have to worry too much about tone. You're just getting in the texture of the W shapes for hair. Now look at your image and think about what direction the hair on your animal is going. I've chosen a tiger just because I like the black and white contrast of the stripes, but you can do any animal you want. I'd recommend not doing a pure white animal or not doing a pure black animal, because it won't be very interesting to draw. It's good to have an animal with some type of a pattern on it, stripes, spots or whatever. It just makes it actually easier to draw because it helps identify the animal. Otherwise your dog, if you just have a black dog, it could look like a black bear in the end up. Here I'm just showing you some pen technique. A lot of the time when people are drawing lines, they do hard lines like this that are solid all the way through. I would like you to practice doing lines with a flick at the end. Now that makes it look a lot more like hair and texture. You'll see how it's going thinner at the end. I do this by flicking my hand off the paper. So instead of drawing a straight line just with a constant pressure, I'm doing a flicking up motion with my hand. Think like Harry Potter, Wingardium Leviosa. You want to flick your hand up. And you can do this with a felt tip pen as well. You'll see that it's getting nice and thin at the end there as well. So that's a technique it's always good to practice on this side. So always have a wee scrap of paper beside you and you can practice this type of thing. And that's to do all the wee flicks at the ends of the hair, just to add the detail. You want lots of texture in this, but it's supposed to look like a hairy animal, so you want to have that texture. Even though we're doing solid black and no tone at the moment, I want you to have this texture in the way that you're using your pen. You'll see that I'm speeding on a lot here, and that's just because it's quite time consuming. I expect you to spend 2 periods on drawing the outline and the black areas of your picture. You should be spending 2 periods on after a week anyway, and this will take you 2 periods to do. I think it took me 2 episodes of Doctor Who. I had Doctor Who in the background, and it took me 2 episodes of Doctor Who to draw my outline and do this black detail bits. Or it is something that you have to concentrate on, but I always end up having something on the background, music or whatever. That's why I do my voiceovers after drawing it as well, just so I can listen to whatever I'm listening to. And if someone asks me how long I take to do something, I always tell it in TV episodes. So for the tiger or whatever animal you're drawing, if they have stripes, so the stripes in the tiger are quite tricky, I'm not going to lie, they are quite tricky to capture. You really have to make sure you're moving your pen in the direction of where the hair is going. So the hairs on this side of his eye here are coming out from his face, so coming out from the eye. So you'll see that a lot of the time my pen is moving to the side there to show that the hair is moving out from the eye. Try and keep all your pen strokes in the direction that you see them in the image of the hair. So don't be going just side to side when the hair is, you can see it's going up and down, if you know what I mean. In some of the areas of the blackness you won't actually see that much detail, but it's on the edges of these little fine lines that I'm adding in that you have to be very, very careful. I have added, so you've seen the final project, what it looks like in the end. I've added a lot of detail into it, and it did take me a while. I think it took 5 episodes of Doctor Who. I think they're like 45 minutes each or something. So it did take me quite a while, and I did it mostly out of boredom because I like drawing, so it's something to do. I do not expect you to add as much detail as I did. I just did it because I think it's fun to do. I'm giving you 2 periods this week to add your pencil and your pencil outline and your black detail, and then 2 periods next week to, or maybe I'll give you more than 2 periods to get finished. But you should be spending 2 periods a week on art, and some of the pieces I've been handed in, I don't think they took that long. So please make sure to spend the appropriate time on your lessons. A lot of the time I spin my paper around, and that's because you'll notice sometimes when you're drawing it's easier to draw in certain directions than others. So it's easier to draw lines up and down than it is side to side. So that's why I move my paper around, because it's easier for me to draw up and down than side to side. If you practice it, you'll notice that too. It's like if you're right-handed, it's easier to draw an arrow facing the left than it is to draw an arrow facing the right, pointing towards the right. Random facts. So although it looks like I'm just doing random wiggly lines, I am actually doing it with order, in my own little orderly way. I am actually thinking about what I'm doing quite a lot, and I do move the page around a lot. It's good to use a hard surface for this, and you'll see I'm leaning on a sketch pad. It's nicer to lean on a wee pile of paper or on a sketch pad than just a piece of paper on a hard table. I don't know if you've ever noticed that when writing even, it's nicer when using a pen to have a bit of a softer surface underneath you that's either a pile of paper or a sketch pad. I understand not everybody will have good quality paper to draw on. If you have lined paper at your house and that's everything you have, use the lined paper, I don't mind. But try and use the best paper you have. So like paper from your printer or whatever, or paper in the sketchbook you already have. Around here I'm really concentrating on adding all the little fine details. I did draw most of this with pencil. Sometimes I rub out the pencil marks if I don't think they're in the right place. I do draw most of the outlines in pencil before I pen them in, just to be safe, just so I don't make any mistakes, but sometimes I freehand draw it. But I would recommend drawing everything in very lightly in pencil first. It's just these fine little stripes around the top of the head that I'm putting in freehand. And sometimes I'll just have a rough guide of there's a stripe here and I'll do a wiggly line, and then I'll add the detail properly. Because if you're going to draw it and then do it over in pen, it would take you forever. So that's why it's, as long as you have a rough guide of where everything goes, your eyes, the face shape, nose and all that has to be exact. You have to have that exactly down. But anything else you can just put a rough guide in. and I've been able to print off my image, but if you can just get it on your phone, make sure you're constantly looking at it and have it close by. So you'll see mine's all right beside each other, and that's how you get this kind of really realistic look, because my eyes are just moving a small distance from my drawing to the photograph. I don't have to look at my phone. The photograph is always there for me to glance at. So you always have to have the image you're working from beside you, and that's the only way you'll ever get that kind of photorealistic style to make it look really realistic. You have to have the image beside you the whole time. You have to constantly be looking at it. That's the only way you'll be able to draw like a photograph, is to look at it. You'll see that this is only black and white at the moment, but because of the texture I've used, it's already starting to look like he's got hair on him, even though I haven't added any tone. It's just black and white at this point, just because of the way I've used my pen and the little strokes of my pen. It's starting to look textured already. So remember, little W strokes to get that kind of texture. Practice it on a spare bit of paper before you do anything. It's always best to practice, even I do. And I'm just adding in some more detail here that I didn't bother at the start. If I'm not sure on anything, I normally try it out with pencil first, just to make sure it looks like it's in the right place. And then you'll see sometimes I'll draw it in pencil and then rub it out, because I don't want to see the pencil marks in the end. Most of them will be covered anyway, but sometimes you'll just see me rubbing out any wee pencil marks. That's a mechanical pencil, just because the lines are really thin with it, but any type of pencil works. And I've skipped on a little bit here just because it was getting a bit repetitive. Now, what I'm doing here is one of the most difficult things when it comes to doing the pure black outline, and that is negative drawing. So what negative drawing is when you're drawing in the background of something instead of the actual thing. So you'll see his chin here. Instead of me actually drawing the white of the chin, I'm colouring in the background of it so the chin stands out more. So some of your edges you will have to draw around where like white would be instead of drawing where the black is, if that makes sense. You can take it to the extreme with negative drawing, and you see where his whiskers are, like the wee fine white lines. You could try and draw around those to keep them out. Now I'm going to cheat at the end and do that with a white pen, but another way of doing it would be to just draw around where the whiskers would be and not draw the whiskers. Remember, any white on your page has to be left white, because you can't really cover the black that easily. So if there's anything that you want to stand out, it means you have to draw around the background of it. I'm not adding tone, so I'm going to leave the demonstration here for this lesson. So I would like you to have your pencil outlined on,